Hello everyone, welcome to the show Quackos Talk with the Expert. Today we have Mr. Mohit, who is working as a full stack developer for the past 10 years, and he's here with us to discuss a lot more about full stack development, the amount of demand it has got in the industry, and what it takes to become a full stack developer. Hello, Mr. Mohit, thank you so much for joining with us. It's a pleasure to have you.
Hi Ravi, it's a pleasure to be with you. Thank you so
Thank
much
you.
for inviting.
Thank you so much, Mr. Mohit, once again. So, Mr. Mohit, before we start off, could you please brief us up about your professional experience?
Yeah, currently I have around 9 years experience in IT and I'm working as a full stack engineer. Started my career as a graduate hire and I worked with a Fortune 500 company so far. I work with IBM, MasterCard, Citi, and currently I'm working with the AP Moller Maersk, which is world largest shipping company as a full stack engineer. And here we develop design product which help our customer life easy in supply chain management. So it's really interesting.
Okay. So, Mr. Mohit, it's been almost a decade, I guess, since you have been a full stack developer in the industry. So, throughout your experience, you would have seen a lot of freshers coming into the companies. And these freshers, I mean, especially for these freshers to survive or to give a healthy competition in the industry or to perform well. So, what are the most essential skills do they have to possess, especially for the
Yeah,
full stack development roles?
sure. So I'll take you my example. Like I also joined as a graduate hire. So the transition from a college graduate hire into a professional, it's not that smooth always, because when I was joined, the technology was not that fast. The pace is changing, but these days, like the technology is changing very fast.
Right.
So the most essential skill right now for a graduate hire or any IT professional is to learn and implement new technology. It is the most essential skill. If you cannot learn new and implement those things in your project, I think that will be really hard for you to survive. So as well as in graduate hire or lateral hire aspirant, we see whether it has the right attitude to learn and implement the technology. So this is one of the most essential thing we check. Even in the graduate hire also, we check whether how fast you can learn, what is the attitude towards learning new technology, implementing. So that's something
Yeah.
we see as a interpersonal skill. Uh,
Right.
if you talk about the tech wise, so tech wise, actually for graduate hire, usually we don't have much expectation. We don't expect a lot from a graduate because we understand there is a transition period, there is a learning curve which involve from a graduate hire to professional, but it also depends on the companies to company. So if we talk about the MNCs, they have their own training program for graduate hire where they give the head start them to introduce the technology and tech tools which you use in industry. But for a medium to large or a startup companies, they don't have that kind of facility. So there you have to take the upstart and perform there. So for that, I think for MNC, I would say if you have the basic, so first of all, you should like programming. That's the most essential part of it. Otherwise, you won't able to enjoy your job because you'll be programming for 5 to 6 hours daily. First of all, you should like it. The most essential is second, as told you, to the skill to learn and implement something. That is a particular skill that you have to master out.
Yeah.
Tech wise, you should go at data structure and algorithms. From basic to advanced, depend on which company you're targeting. If you're targeting FANG, you must have those kind of data stream algorithm mastery. For other company, the moderated to medium, it's fine. But if you don't know at all, it will be difficult. For if you talk about more deeply in for full stacks, if you really want to pursue a full stack, you should really good at JavaScript, because JavaScript is like a backbone of all the front end technology. So you should learn the JavaScript first, and then you can have the additional framework like Angular, React, or Vue on top of that, which is additional because it may change based on your role. For backend also varies. There's a large scale of technology in the backend, but usually Java, .NET, Python, and you can also go for Node or Go. So this kind of technology you should at least know, and hands-on is the best. And there are many other things as well which is good to have, like CI/CD DevOps thing, or if you have a little bit cloud exposure, that would really help.
Yeah, that's nice. That's very good to actually know about it. And also, you mentioned that the journey from your bachelor's phase or your studies phase towards the industry, it's not that smooth. So you said you yourself faced a lot of you would have faced a lot of challenges as well. So in your experience of the last 10 years and your personal experiences as well, what are some of the most critical challenges that you have faced before, or students usually face who are freshers to the industry?
Yeah. So I worked myself as a fresher and also worked a lot with graduate hire. We have a certain program and a part of it where we used to train the graduate hire for. The most important thing is the transition itself. Like for Causewell, the most important thing is the attitude problem. Usually when we are in college and we study, we have kind of attitude where we do think good, like it are good to do. That's why we do it. Like if there's assignment we do, there's a project we do, there are some actual hands-on training we do, and with not a right attitude, we are okay to do because we was told us to do. That's why we do. But in corporate, it's totally different. You have to take ownership whatever you assign, whether it's a small task or big task. And usually we struggle there because we haven't done that kind of thing before. So attitude for ownership is really, really important. You get paid for something, so you must respect the work, and you should do it with the whole, concentration and your whole attitude. The other thing is the communication is one of the thing where mostly graduate hire lacks, because usually when we come from our college, we usually speak our native languages, and with English we are not that communication. And when you're working in IT, we work in MNC, and there's too much diversity involved, so communication becomes really key. So that's the one thing we should graduate hires or students really work on, because there is something we take for granted. We see like when we get chance we'll speak, but it's not the case. You should be really comfortable with your communication. You should present your thought process to your team, your colleague, or even client. So that is one of the important thing that a graduate hire should have. And and one more thing, like you should always ask for the help. Usually what happens, I was also one of the graduate hire, and when I had the doubt, I used to think twice or thrice to ask question, because I thought I might sound stupid asking question. So you should always ask. Like I learned it hard way, but now even now also, if I think something stupid in my head, still I ask, because it's far better to assume something than ask stupid question. So they should know, like these are very common thing. You don't feel stupid asking the question. So you should communicate, you should ask. And the one most important thing that helped me to get job, as well as giving me good start in job, was I did some really real-time hands-on project. Like before joining the IBM, I created one mobile application which was really we had live on App Store, and which could easily install on the mobile, and it helped to me to crack lots of interviews. So if you can, if you are learning something, try to create something which you can showcase, which is live. So in interview, it has many benefits. So in interviews, in tech interview, usually we scared because technology is vast and interview can ask anything. But if you have that kind of live project, you showcase them, and the best thing is he will impress. Second thing, all the technical question will come from that particular part which you already worked on. So which gonna really narrow down the scope of your technical interview to the work you did. So I think this is something which the hack I got to know, and I always tell whenever I get chance to interact with my family, friends, to do something, create something and hands-on and make it live. So you can showcase. It has a lot value.
Right. Very valuable insights given. So from what you told, what I understood was that there is a bridge, or there is a gap between academia, what we learn in our universities, to what is done in the industry. So to bridge this academia, you told that yes, doing own projects or own work for ourselves is one way. And also, are there any resources which you personally liked, or which you personally would suggest the audience, especially when it comes to enhancing one's knowledge about the latest trends and technologies that are happening in the industry? Because students, what we get to know in the universities and what is happening in the industry, there's a lot of difference. So would you suggest any blogs or articles or any channels that are available online, so that the knowledge, so that some useful information can be gained by students? So do you suggest any such things?
Yeah, sure. I'll suggest some resources and also suggest a way. So actually what happens usually, right now there's abundance of resource available. You have lots of books, lots of tutorials, lots of YouTube's channels and paid course as well. Sometimes what happens, we usually just gather all and we could not get out of it. So the most important thing before going through those codes or any books, you must set up your goals. Like if I'm going to purchase one course on Udemy, and let's say it's a JavaScript course, so you should have a very clear goal that I need to complete this JavaScript course in this particular days, and you should have that plan. You should not like you just gone through 5 chapters and then you jump to some other course because you found it good. So you should have the clear goal. Plus what happens usually, each YouTubers or each course is designed differently, and each person individual has his own pace to understand the problem and its own pace to learn. So first of all, you should find the resource which you think which is fits for your way of learning. You should go search. There are abundant of resources available. You can I can give you some few, but it's up to you. Go there and check which YouTuber you like, which YouTuber convey message the way you understand. The second important thing is the practice, because what happens, there are two things I would tell you. There are two things in the world. Like one is this knowledge that you can possess. You can read the book, you can go to the articles, you can go to blog, you'll possess the knowledge. But the skill to implement is something which is rarely we possess, and which is really important. You should develop the skill to whatever you learn, you can implement it. So you should develop that particular skill. And it comes from practice. You cannot read it and get it. So I would say, if you want to fill that gap, so take one of the course, go to YouTube. I would suggest that YouTube is the best place. You can find abundant of resource. You go there and you see few of video, and you find some YouTuber which align your way of learning, you adapt it. You also have Udemy's, you have a Pluralsight, you have the O'Reilly, where you can get the paid code as well. And if you think that those courses are they are costly, there are abundant of websites which provide the promotional code for Udemy. So there are websites which if you browse there, you can find very informative Udemy course for free, because it's promotion from Udemy. So you can also go there and check out there. Also there are free universities also available there, like Coursera is there, Khan Academy is there. So you can enroll some really good course if you want to pursue some advanced topic like data structure algorithms, artificial intelligence, machine learning, natural language processing. So you can also find those courses over there. But I would say find the course which fit best to you, okay, and try to implement. After a course, and you should have a working prototype. You can showcase that this is something I built. So implementation is the key, and that would help you to excel your career in later stage, because right now you have a chance to go through a video for a week and then implement. In professional life, you'll have a 1 day or 2 day to adapt new technology and implement. So that will really help if you take that skill to learn and implement. So that's the thing. For resource file, I said you can go to YouTube and you'll find number of YouTubers, because I have few which adopt my way of working, which is I like the less theory and more kind of practical. So I adopt that kind of YouTubers. You can have, if you don't have the basic, then you can adopt the YouTuber which talks a lot first and then have practice. So it's up to your skill, the way you learn.
Yeah, that's right. So what kind of skills do recruiters actually expect when they are hiring, when candidates sit for job interviews? So what are some of the most important things that recruiters want from freshers, especially students who are who are just graduating, or freshers who are appearing for job interviews? What do recruiters expect out of them? What necessary skills, especially in the full stack development point of view?
Yeah. So I also said from graduate hire, usually organization doesn't expect much, but they expect what they see. They don't see you as a professional right now. They see, do you have that material which required to be a good professional? So I said, like, the learner and implementer skill, the right attitude, and the ownership part of it, a good team player and communication, which is essential for every graduate, and not for full stack. But for full stack, I said, first of all, you should have some hands-on, basic to medium hands-on training on programming, any language you should have it. For front end, I said JavaScript is must. You should know JavaScript very, very well, because JavaScript is like grandfather of all the framework. And in JavaScript, each week there are 5 to 6 framework counts. But if you are good at JavaScript, then you will definitely able to pick up any framework coming in. And the other thing is the programming mindset, which is really important, which comes from practice. So you can certainly we look up whether user that person has the programming mindset or not, because if we give some problem, so when we give the problem, we see whether how you approach the problem. And another point comes with the problem solving skill, solving skill, troubleshooting and debugging skill. So that skill is really important in an engineer, because ultimately you are going to solve a business problem which our business has. So if you have the good problem solving skill, then you will definitely will help. And we see this, we usually assess this thing in our graduate hire using like the aptitude tests. We have some small programs. So we think usually I also think this is just to screening, but it's not screening. It's really, you know, test your skills, how you approach the problem, how you solve the problem, because the same thing you're going to do when a business problem comes. So that is really important. And that comes it comes from when you practice the programs. And it's developed one more thing which is called programming mindset, I said. So you approach problem differently. And we also expect, like, if aspirant have, because after 4 years of engineering, if you are from IT and CS, you should know the high level working of system, like how a server works, how the communication between system work, what are the network protocols are there, and let's say all our server available. So this is really high level of, we don't expect thorough knowledge, but when there is a website is running, we expect if freshers know how that works, then it's like a best thing, because you are already like ahead of 30-40% crowd, because they don't know it. And the cloud exposure, I also said, like, everything is right now the cloud. So if you exposure on AWS, Azure, or Google Cloud Platform, or any other cloud platform, which is really easy. So I would suggest go there, and if you can log in on AWS for free, you can host your web application. So let's say if you are doing a full stack course, develop a full stack app, a front end app or back end app, you can get AWS or Azure free subscription, where you can deploy your app, and your app will be live. You can share with your friends, even in college, if it's assignment, you can share with your professor. And the best thing is, in interview, you can share with your interviewer as well. So yeah, so there is something, this or the we expect the basic things. So user know the graduate hire know the basic of everything, but the programming mindset.
Right. And also you mentioned about the import. I mean, there are a lot of, when I asked about the online resources that are available, well, yes, you mentioned about them, that there are a lot of online platforms that are available. So I just wanted to know, like, how significant role do online courses or online specializations play to secure a job in full stack development roles? Because I have seen personally, I have seen a lot of resumes. They mention a category called certifications and specializations, and they mention a list of courses. And there are a lot of success stories as well, saying that, you know, these particular specializations have helped us to gain the required skills and also help us crack the interview. So, do online courses and specializations play a significant role to, you know, upskill our skills? And at the same time, do they help really in cracking the job interviews?
Yeah, so you have a two part of it. One is the online courses and the certification. So I'll talk about first certification. So basically, if you talk of the context of fresher, we don't expect to have the certification, because certification, and if you have the certification, even in lateral hire also, if you have the certification, we assume like you have mastered that particular field you have certification is, and it's really upscale the expectation of recruiter and tech recruiter. So and from my experience, like I have 10 years experience, I never done any certification, because I don't think so. It's I didn't felt it's required, because first of all, it upgrade the expectation of interviewer, because if you have the, let's say if you have a certification in Java 8, then they expect you know everything of Java 8, and Java is so vast, no one can know it. And we also know that like major of the people go for the dumps, and they know they get some shortcut to crack it, because if you go it the right way, it's really hard to learn. And if you learn it, then it's definitely big plus for you. But for fresher, personally, it doesn't make much value, because if you have the certification, first of all, it's good, but it will now increase the expectation. Then they're going to ask so many questions from that. Now I'll talk about the online courses. So I would say the online courses is the backbone, right out the backbone of the industry. Why? Because, and after the COVID, right, there's no classroom courses now. So we all depend on either Udemy, Pluralsight, O'Reilly, all those platforms. So those
Yeah.
platform is really important. Why? Because I'm working with Musk, and we are working with all the latest technology right now in the market. I have worked on the technology which I had never heard before. And so let's say I encounter with some problem, like I want to learn the Terraform. I haven't implemented anything in Terraform. So it was very new for me. So I went to the course, I did a course for a couple hours, I took the basic and I started doing it. So it's really helped me to get the kickstart. And the course designed such a way that if you are very naive and very rookie, you don't know about the thing, you can still start it. So I think the online courses are really, really important. It's give you so much edge. Certification I think it take a lot of time and it take your lots of attention to get the certificate, and I don't think so it will add too much value. Instead, if you can create something, so if you adopt new technology, if you create some prototypes, and if you have the more hands-on experience, I would go towards that rather than go for certificate, because it's more like a theory knowledge, and it's usually course is too bulky, and it increases the expectation, which is kind of bad for you. So yeah, certification is online courses are good, but certification you can do it if you want, but it won't add much values.
Right. And one last question before I want to conclude. So how is the demand for full stack developers across the globe? Because I always keep hearing that they have a lot of demand. So how far this is true, and what exactly is the future of full stack development roles?
Yeah, so for demand, I would say in our organization, Mask also, we have a huge amount of full stack developer. Currently, we are recruiting so many full stack developer, and we have also demand. So if anyone interested, they can apply. About the global, I think it is the earlier. I would say I'll start a little back. So we have develop first we have the back front end people different, and we have the back end, then we have the DevOps thing. But now the way the agile thing is coming in, we want to decrease dependency on different team. We want to create a self-dependent team which can do their stuff their own. And in our role in our organization, we own everything. Like, we don't have anyone who tests our code, we don't have someone who deploy the code. We design our application, we code our application, we deploy, and we support it. So because now agile demands fast release, we need a team which is self-sufficient, and full stack role completely solve that problem. So now, and full stack definition also changed, like 2 years back it was front end, back end, but now the front end, back end, DevOps, CI/CD, you should have a number of technology, and that solves the problem, because you get a team which is self-sufficient and which can solve also your problem and decrease the dependency. So you simply, if you want to check the demand, you can search the LinkedIn. If you go for LinkedIn, you Glassdoor, you see there are n number of requirements for full stack, because first of all, it's cover the larger audience, and it really helps solve the problem of releasing your thing in prod fast. I want to emphasize one more thing. I forgot to mention, like, when you think about full stack, it doesn't mean you should be master of everyone. Okay, it's not like you are like master of everything. We don't want masters of everything. You can have a backend, you can have one strong and other like good to have. So like out of 5 in backend, if you are out of 5 you are 4, then front end we don't expect 4 or 5, we expect like 3, 2 is fine, because we understand nobody can be master of all. So it's fine if you think the one part of your full stack tools is you weak on someone, that's fine, that's perfectly fine. We don't expect everyone to be perfect in everything. Just you should have something which is strong and something which is okay. Then we'll have different team, because we have the different skill set which can fill that void.
Thank you so much. I mean, those are really some very useful suggestions, I hope, for the audience. And I myself gained a lot of information regarding what exactly is full stack development, because I keep hearing that word many times, but I do not know what exactly it is. So thank you, sir. Thank you so much once again for giving all these valuable inputs. And I really hope that our audience watch this interview and take back some useful information and inputs, which could be helpful for their careers. And thank you so much once again.
Thanks for having me, and all the best, all the aspirants. Hope you'll find your dream job.
Thank you so much.